Oh,
Hi, everybody. Welcome to a new segment we're trying out here. It's a new segment, and we're calling it "Making Comic Creators Cry." And and we have a lot of plans of what we or where I kind of see this channel going. But Adam wants to make it educational. I want to make it more of a of an intense like battle
a
here.
roast.
Yeah, exactly. A roast. Yes. We definitely talked about trying to make it a little bit of a roast, a little bit of a jousting, you know what I'm saying? But I think we're going to have fun with it. And we're going to, but before we get started, I'm a comic creator. And I want you guys to introduce yourself a little bit. But, Adam, I will start off with saying that this man sells a lot of books, and he's been in the industry a while. You know what I'm saying? So he knows what he's talking about. But I think it was Adam. You claimed there was somewhere around. You've probably sold 250,000 books, comic books. Is that true?
Not of my own comics. The 250,000 number is all the comics I've sold in total. Yes.
That's right. That's right. But he sells books, so he knows what sells, and I think that's a very good boost. So so you definitely so we're not coming at people, what I'm saying, without knowledge here. Adam is the knowledge, what I'm saying, and then me and Kayla
is qualified.
He's qualified, and then we're just here to kind of he's also. I would say one of the meanest guys I know. You know what I'm saying? Or he's one of the meanest. So then me and Kayla here to soften the blow. You know what I'm saying? And help rein in.
I was gonna say, how did I end up here?
So we're here to kind of soften the blows, and then also inject some humor and some roasts, but also all in this good spirit that we're trying to help people, other comic creators. Adam, what do you have to say about everything I've just said about what you see this channel can be?
Well, for starters, the whole "I'm one of the meanest people you know" thing. I don't know about that, but yeah, you definitely need to target a little bit more about what this channel is going to be. So shows like this should help.
That's right. That is right. I will say that you're obviously a very nice person, but when you give critiques, and we talked about this, it feels very personal because we pour so much time and effort and resources and all of our parts making these books, right? And so anything that is not anything that you possibly could say about somebody's book, it definitely it's just a representation of them. You know what I'm saying? It's the way all of my books. Some person said it was like too fragmented, but that's the way I am. You know what I'm saying? And it's one of those things where you can't help but not take it personally. But then I think there's also a sign where you have to take a step back and also look at things objectively, right, Adam? That's what we talked about, and that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna try to help people see objectively what they can do better. You know what I'm saying, for their next book.
And to be fair, when you wanted the critique from me, you told me you wanted me to bleed it, and you spent like 15 minutes forcing me to give you a critique. I said no, you don't want a critique from me. And you kept saying, no, tell me. So
I thought I could take it.
But then Are you sure you didn't go to art school? Like, what is this masochism that you've let fester?
Adam was claiming that he's like, everybody thinks they can take it, but then they really can't. He was warning me, right? And I'm like, no, Adam, I can take it. But then after a while, you know what I'm saying? But I understand. I'm in everybody's shoes that comes on this channel. You know what I'm saying? I kind of understand, how to take things, but I also understand how to still make it better, because I still ask Adam, what can I do better? You know what I'm saying? I still ask for more critiques.
Every day.
Yep. That's right. I still ask for more critiques.
Yep. And he tells me that I make him cry all the time.
and they all hurt equally. You know what I'm saying? It's not like it gets like you get used to it. No, they all just hurt the same amount. So that's kind of what I think this channel is. Kayla, what do you think this channel can be and represent?
I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be the comic creator crying based off of this back and forth. I think I've been lured here under the pretense that this is going to be a constructive show, kind of, what you were saying. It's a space for there to be an open dialogue about the technical aspects of people's cover art and their comics that maybe they don't have enough experience or knowledge to be able to self-critique, and it's supposed to be helpful, but
you also claim, Kayla, that when you go into comic stores or there's stores that you see that are, you just feel like roasting them because, you remember, didn't we talk about some types of comics that are just so wild and out there, and it's like it goes too far,
Like opening the closet and like, bring out your skeletons, Kayla. Remember this private conversation we had about how you secretly hate people's artwork? Yeah, definitely.
So I think it's a well-rounded, panel. But I want to say that we're gonna. So today in particular, we're gonna show that we can take it before we dish it out. You know what I'm saying? And Adam said that it's very important. And we're gonna start with nobody else other than me. You know what I'm saying? We'll start going through my covers. I want to kind of go through cover arts because I think the covers sell the books. Adam, in your opinion, nobody even looks past the cover, right? We called it judging a book by its cover. Isn't that true?
Yeah, comics are going to be judged by their cover. So are books, but comics in particular. If you don't like the cover art, you're not going past that point, right?
It's true. It is true. So I don't know who came up with that saying, but it is 100% false. And I will say that
who said it was a good writer who had a shitty artist. That's who said it.
There you go. Like, please don't judge my books by their covers.
And I'll also say that there's something to be said about variant covers in particular, and we're going to touch into variant covers towards the end here. Me and Adam have been going back and forth about what variant covers should be, could be, and we'll get into his take a little bit later. But
shouldn't be, because they should all just be done away with. So
exactly, a little teaser there about the variant covers.
Tell us how you really feel, Adam.
But I want to take a look at some of my covers, and we'll start with Lost Magic. You know what I'm saying? The first one that I ever did, and I have come a long way in terms of how I approach and even see variant covers since then. But I think no place better to start than my first cover here, which is the main cover of Lost Magic 1. This is actually not the print one, Adam. So I do know that we talked about there was some things about the placement of the season 1 that changed, but everything else is still there.
I do wish that you had that still at the top, because that would be something that I would critique. So is there a way to view it all in just one frame at once, or do you have to scroll like that?
I probably have to scroll like okay. You know what I can do here? I can actually I think I have it all on the season 3 campaign, shameless self-promotion. It's coming out next Wednesday, you know what I'm saying? And I actually created this page here. Let me pull it up, but because it actually has all the covers for all the 3 Lost Magics going on here. Let me see if I pull it up. And something that I was thinking about recently is am I doing way too many variant covers, right? Because especially when we take them to cons, a lot of times, even like now, like even just looking at this, it feels like there's so many choices. You know what I'm saying, that people have to choose from. So nope, that's not the one. It's right over here. So just looking at over here, we have this. The top line is season 1 covers, and the second line here is season 2 covers. If you want, I can definitely, what's it called? Maybe make it a little slightly bigger. But is this good, Adam? Are you ready to rip into these? Do you want them bigger, or how do you feel?
Is there a way to zoom in on these?
I can definitely try. You know what I'm saying? This is what we call maybe that would do better. Do them 3 at a time like this. Okay. You know what I'm saying? It's better. Let me see.
So you have 2 variants per comic?
So this is 3 variants per comic. Yeah, it's 2. Okay. So the main and then 2 variants.
Right. Your main and then 2 additional like alternative.
And I also had for each of these a third one, which was a metal cover, which technically is entirely different. But then again, I kind of I went crazy with them because I kind of, I don't know, based on the Kickstarters that I was seeing and the other, in the indie sphere, even on the shelves of comic stores, like lots of variants. I was like, oh, I need to make variants. But then I've learned that that's probably not the best way to go about it. And just based off the experience and the people who buy, like, I don't think they really care if there's 3 choices. I think they're just going to choose one anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But yeah, so this first one, I know Adam was talking about that this one looks too close to the 0. So people were thinking it was season 10, right, Adam?
So you've actually fixed that a bit.
I did
the original version. Yeah, because the original version had the one touching the horn ring, earring. I'm not sure what that is exactly.
It was slightly shifted to the right.
Yeah, it was really far over in the version you actually sent to me that's on Spinner Racks right now. So it looked like season 10. When I first looked at it, I thought it said season 10, and so did everybody else, right?
Yep, that is right. That's right. Or just go off that, because you mentioned the Spinner Racks, and I guess I technically still didn't introduce yourselves. So you guys didn't introduce yourselves, but you understood. And maybe you guys should introduce yourselves so people actually understand what you're saying here.
Yes. Who are you, Adam?
I'm Adam Watson. I own Darkslinger Comics and Comics Mainstream. So I do publishing and I do distribution. I'm a distributor that's rebuilding a better newsstand market.
That's right.
Which, if you want more details, I can give you more details, but I know we're limited on time here. So
that is right. So going back, because let me see here. So we have these. We have looked at this cover, but right off the bat, Adam, would you say a lot of people did like this main cover, especially when I brought it into the stores. And it's one of those things where I was happy about. People like the different artwork, the sketchiness of it, and then
so looking at all 3 of your covers together, I'm just going to make a general critique right there right away. Okay. When I look at these 3, they're completely disjointed. There's nothing about these 3 images right here that tells me that these are from the same series at all. These look like they could just be from any 3 Arman's books. I don't necessarily think number 2 and the third one with the tree demon guy, I don't necessarily think that those are Lost Magic. I mean, obviously, leaving off the logo and making them Virgin variants, that adds to that, of course. But if you're trying to build some sort of brand recognition, it's not there with these other 2 images. Because there's no consistent flow that tells me that's who these characters are. These are variants specifically of characters that I see on the first cover. You see what I'm saying at all?
Yeah. I see everything you're saying. Kayla, do you see what he's saying?
Oh, I do. I mean, I completely agree. That was the first thing, actually, that I thought of when I saw all of them next to each other was I would have no idea that these were related to Lost Magic if I didn't know that they were variant covers, especially number 3, because at least, with what little I know about to expect of your brand just from the book Lost Magic, I know that it's a dark fantasy world. And I got a little bit of that with cover 2, just based off of what she's wearing and holding the sword. That's a very kind of archetypal fantasy image. But when we move to the third, this could be horror, this could be some type of sort of pop culture variant. I really don't understand how it relates to Lost Magic at all. And the color palette is completely opposite of our second
all
one and
3
our
of
first
them
one.
are completely
Yeah.
And again, this was me going into it thinking, oh, I have to make each cover very different from the previous one, right? And to some extent, I think you have to when making a variant, but also I definitely agree that there was some disjointedness in it, and definitely even like art styles, because these all, so the problem with Lost Magic, it's not the problem, is Lost Magic is like so many different characters. I think we're now up to like 40 or 50 characters like in the current story, and they're technically all main characters the way I view them. It's a large sandbox world, so absolutely, just like, who do I just pick and choose? And actually, me and Adam were just I was asking Adam, like, how would I even approach a graphic novel cover with all of these characters? Can I just fit all 50 on the one cover? And then we never got to an answer there. But these are the things I
gave you an answer.
You did. He gave me an answer I did not like. So then, to me, that's not an answer at all. You know what I'm saying, Kayla? You know what I'm saying?
So in your book, no, he didn't say anything. Now I have to know, what was the answer?
We still haven't gotten an introduction for Kayla yet, by the way.
Oh, Kayla, introduce yourself, and we'll get back to that. You know what I'm saying?
I'm Kayla Rainey, aka just Rainey. I am a comic artist and illustrator, as well as a fine art painter. And I do everything from cover art to sequentials to character design to animation, etc., etc.
I will also say that Adam was saying that on my Kickstarters I can offer tattoo design reward tiers, but then people will not take me seriously because I have no ink, was exactly Adam's words. Adam, do you remember this?
Well, hello.
Of course I remember this.
So Kayla has the street cred, you know what I'm saying? And if I remember correctly, Kayla, you actually used, did you work at a tattoo parlor?
So my life pre-comics was I worked in the tattoo industry. I managed shops and artists, and I was a professional piercer for years. Yeah,
absolutely. So Adam, how do you find that? Is that good enough street cred, Adam? You know what I'm saying?
Well, her street cred or my street cred are not your street cred. So, it depends on how it's sold,
by proximity.
I'm too clean cut. I have to get out of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm too clean.
Sorry, it's an in-line thing.
You know what I'm saying? All right. So before we go back, so there was a question about we're trying to circle back to the answer. What was the question, Kayla? About
what was the question?
The question was if, like, I think it was what the graphic novel cover would look like.
Oh,
and
yes.
You want to know Adam's response.
What was the solution? I have to know.
Yeah, I think we all want to know.
My initial thought is.
I told him he absolutely could do a cover with 50 characters on it, but there was no reason to. That an image that was just really strong with 5 or less, that was going to sell it better than just trying to glom on every character in there, because for some reason he wants his fans to play like Where's Waldo with his characters.
That's what I want to do.
So, I mean, you could do that. I don't know why you would do it, and your artist is going to be so pissed off at you.
Yes.
So, you're not the one who's doing all the layout and everything, trying to figure out how do I fit 50 of these characters on this cover.
God.
And you know what?
And I told you if you wanted to do that, to do it as a poster, not a cover.
That's right. You did say a large poster, but yeah. And one of the first things you said was, I don't know. You don't have to. They said I think your exact response was, I don't know. Ask your artist. Well, why don't you ask your artist? And then I was like, Adam, in my experience, I tell the art. No, in my experience, I prefer the workflow. I just tell them, and I don't ask them questions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. As far as my experience goes, it's like, just do the thing.
Well, personally, I have something that sounds like that big of a pain in the ass. I'm going to ask my artist and say, is this going to cost more with this crazy thing I have in my head, right?
See?
There you go.
That is proper etiquette there.
Adam is a man of principle and now etiquette. You know what I'm saying? He's all of it. He's all of it.
Yes, he's the gentleman of comics. I think that's what we're gonna dub Adam.
The gentleman of comics.
I don't know that I deserve that, but
Adam was telling me that the moment he walks into any con, just earlier, he's always the scariest man in the room. You know what I'm saying? He feels like he's the toughest, and that he feels like he can take on anybody. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I did make an exception though for the guy that was an MMA fighter who I might be signing up. I made an exception for him. Give me that.
Right, that's right. Adam said maybe this is the guy that could take.
Is that maybe? I don't know.
I wasn't sure about
otherwise,
that.
Yep.
Cool. Let's go back to season 2's covers, and this is Lost Magic number 2. And I'm curious if I got better or worse in between the seasons. You know what I'm saying?
I don't feel like we fully critiqued the first.
I feel like we're way past.
Let's go ahead and move on.
So you have more to say about the first?
Yeah, look, this isn't a 60-minute show. We've only got.
Okay, so with the main covers.
So the main cover, yes.
Okay, number 1, you aren't doing yourself any favors longevity of product making the covers have this much white on them.
Yeah.
Because all this whole area that's all white, that's going to degrade in a way that other things wouldn't, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's that, but then, between this one and the next one, you're using so much neon color in the logo that I'm really not sure what you're trying to convey graphic design wise exactly. But there's not a strong sense of continuity between your graphic design elements on that one. You keep your name, you keep the logo. This one now has your company logo on it, which is very nice. But the one up above says season 1 in big bold letters up at the top. This one says season 2 almost minusculely. And then, you have like your full credits on the cover in the first one, whereas this one only features your name. So it almost kind of feels like the artist got ripped off with that one to some degree, right? But as far as the actual flow goes, the actual flow on both images is lacking, in my opinion. I don't look at these. Well, when you look at them,
like compositionally, it's not.
Compositionally, when you read things in the English language, you read from left to right, right? I don't know why, but both of these images give me the idea that they read right to left. I don't know if it's because you put, bigger characters on the right side or what, but that indicates manga to me, American style comics right away, right?
Okay.
But compositionally, it just kind of seems like you took all the characters in there and just told your artist, hey, make a waterfall out of these characters.
That's exactly what I told them to do.
There's not really any dynamic separation of characters, anything that really tells me anything other than they're just pinups. Does that make sense? Which I'm not saying pinups are always bad. I've done several covers that are just pretty pinups.
Right.
But at the same time, they're lacking dynamic. I can't speak at the moment. They're lacking that dynamic element, really making them pop. Does that make sense?
Yeah, there's no visual information that's being prioritized in the image. Like when you're setting up a composition with a lot of figures like this, I can actually see what the artist was trying to do. They're trying to follow basically like a traditional spiral composition that is, it follows the golden rule of, it should be in almost an S curve that comes around and creates like an infinity symbol, which works for certain mediums, but not for a comic cover, because you have to have something that your eye catches on, lingers on, absorbs the information of, this is what I'm paying attention to and can expect to be the main focus, like through this comic that I'm about to open up. With this, there's so much visual information, and there's no palette changes. Nobody's in shadow or in light. There's there's a difference in the sizes of the characters, but because we have a totally flat light source, like there's no way to really figure out what is the information that I'm supposed to be taking from this. And Arman, this font type is killing me.
Me too.
It is making my soul hurt.
there's there's anybody who understands the font, who gets who yells at me for font, and there's nobody more than Adam. You know what I'm saying? We go back and so many font options, and he denies all of them. But I'll say two things here. One is that one, I wish we did this before, you know what I'm saying? Because I already made the season 3 cover. But I understand all of you're saying, but this is why it's useful. It's helpful going forward when I approach these covers to kind of hear this. But two, and this is, and only I will have the chance to rebuttal against our what we're talking about here. People who come on the show in the future will not have that chance, or they have to take it. I joked to Kayla that I would even mute their mics. You know what I'm saying?
No.
I don't know if this is a show I want to be involved in.
I feel like this was misrepresented to me.
Okay, so this is the season 3 cover, and hopefully it's better. You know what I'm saying? But maybe one more back here. But basically,
oh man, the Blackest Night on that. The cover is fixed. Fix that Blackest Night. Even if the artwork is what it is, and that's the final version, right. Fix that Blackest Night. That is I know what you're trying to go for, but when that's printed out, that's going to be illegible.
Yeah.
I will definitely fix it now. You know what I'm saying? But the thing about my rebuttal again is that are you instantly though transported into this world? These characters are looking at you just based on what the cover is, because that was can you already tell what kind of story it was, or what to kind of expect, or are you immediately transported into this world just by seeing this cover? You know what I'm saying?
No.
Oh man,
no.
Adam doesn't play around. You know what I'm saying? That's for sure. He doesn't.
Well, you asked a direct question. I gave a direct answer.
Right.
I
think in the other covers there was two. The white as the negative space was really distracting. That automatically is keeping your eye from being able to focus on anything. And then with sort of the jumble of characters, I was just so wrapped up in the visual chaos of those. I actually didn't even pay attention to, what sort of weapons were they holding? Were they dressed in fantasy attire? This is just a smidge closer. I can actually look at the characters now, but I have no sense of what kind of world they're in. I have no sense of, is this a continuation again of the previous Lost Magics? Is this a totally new series that just happens to be named Lost Magic? I don't see any repetition of the characters from the previous covers. Those are my initial thoughts. Yeah.
Those are all good points to be brought up, and I will throw out there that this was one of those comics that I made to learn to make comics. You know what I'm saying? And it started out like that, and then I'm just continuing with it because we talked about this before. Because we gotta finish things when we start them. You know what I'm saying? So I'm definitely finishing this season 4 and season 5, and then we'll kind of again to collect it into that nice trade paperback, and then we'll see where it kind of goes from there. But it is such a big open world kind of story, but they are all disconnected in the way that they're told in episodes of 4 pages each. So I definitely, but they're starting to kind of come together. And that's kind of course, the entire point. But I want to just jump back into the season 2 variant covers for a second here. And when we go with these season 2 variant covers, how do you feel about them, Adam? You know what I'm saying? And Kayla.
So the one in the middle, I actually think would have made a much stronger cover. Period. It's go back up to it. It is
this one.
Good image. Yeah, that one. That's a really good image that actually makes me curious what's inside, right?
Yep.
The third image is actually a really cool pinup that I know you talked about doing as a metal print, some things like that, right? The problem with this one for a variant cover, I actually didn't realize you were doing that one as a variant cover. I thought it was just a print. The problem with it to me is that there's nothing about it that screams cover necessarily. This could be a promotional postcard. This could be a trading card. This could be a poster, which sometimes is good when you create something that can be all those things, right? But this one doesn't necessarily jump out at me as something that sells a story. This looks more like an ancillary product, which, variant cover is. So I guess, mission accomplished in that. But out of all of them, the second one, that's the one that actually really makes me wonder, what is this story about? And, if you had a different logo design and put that on the cover, I think that one should have been your main cover, because that really sells me personally on wanting to look in it. Plus, whoever did this particular artwork, I see that you don't have the credits for the artist names right there on the variant, which I think you should have done, by the way. But
that is true. It is in the small corner on the. Her name is signed on this left corner at the bottom, but it's too small.
But I mean, right here where it says like variant dreamer, variant lover, I actually would have. I care more about variant by this artist name than I do than the word dreamer or the word lover. But or that it's 1 in 25. I mean, what do I care that it's 1 in 25 ratioed on a Kickstarter, really? So,
well, people do care, Adam. People do care about that.
I'm not one, and you're asking me about my perspective.
That's just true.
On this particular one, whoever your artist was that you didn't feel should get credit, this particular artist used purple, which is a really hard color to work with. Like, purple is something that more colorists than any other color attempt to use and just do a completely piss poor job on, right? This one, the purple is actually really, really competently done. So it would have been actually cool to see this be the main cover. That's my take.
I will say right off the bat that this was going to be the main cover before I went crazy, and then I actually got the main and then cover drawn to kind of keep in line with season 1, and then I also got this variant drawn. But the bestseller actually was the lover one, and then followed by the main and the dreamer. So it's funny kind of hearing.
Oh wow.
What
how many people backed this?
I want to say maybe 50 or 60.
That's not exactly the numbers that we'd get if we set these up at a Comic-Con. Just these 3 on the table, like ECC, and said, choose one of these, right? Not, not knocking on how many backers you got. I still think it's awesome.
That's right. So you're saying it's too small of a sample size.
It's way too small of a sample size to have any real empirical evidence.
Okay. And you still believe that the streamer cover is gonna sell out faster than the others at cons?
Personally, it's the one that actually makes me curious about what this story is about. And there was nothing in the first in issue number 1 that really made me think, oh, I have to pick up this comic and see what it's about, right? Like, I see this one, and maybe it calls to the fact that I've read so many books like Sandman and Moonshadow and those kind of things. But there's something about it that I find super appealing in that cover. It's very, very well done. It's very well laid out. It's just missing a logo, basically,
That's right. I like Jane a lot. She will be doing a one-on-one interview session soon and joining some of the live shows. Maybe we'll have her on here. I don't know if she's ready to be torn apart. Can we tear apart artists as well? Not just comic creators. Can we tear apart artists?
If they ask for it. The show is
I feel like they have to volunteer and be full.
They have to agree up front.
Long boxes and being like, I hate this and this is why.
It would be and as soon as they come on the show, we'll ask them, you know what I'm saying, and they have to like give it they have to waive all all of their rights and all of that, all of their emotional distress has to be waived. They
can't bill us for their resulting therapy sessions, okay?
But I like Jane Kaluga is the artist here. She's great. I will link her in the description of this video just for Adam, you know what I'm saying, and also for her because she's a good friend. But yeah, Kayla, what are your thoughts on these 3 covers? I mean, the other 2 variants of the second 2.
I mean, look, I completely agree with Adam. My I'm drawn to the Dreamer variant. One, I think it's technically much more sound than the first cover, than the main cover. The color palette seems much more appropriate for the dark fantasy brand that you're building, as does the image itself. This is something that if I saw this in a comic book store, I would pick it up and I would start flipping through the pages. Whereas with your main cover, I'd be kind of like, oh, that's a comic. And keep on moving.
Yeah. Pick up my book on the shelf, and then she would like put it behind another book. You know what I'm saying? She would like
Dreamer variant and be like, you don't want this one, you want this one.
Yeah.
That's what I would do. And I agree too. I think it is important what Adam brought up, the distinction between a good pinup / art print and a cover. Because while your variant lover cover is beautiful, it's very well done, it is not active enough and engaged enough with the viewer to be a compelling cover. When I think of comic covers, I think it's really important that there be something that is drawing your reader into the story before they've even opened the first page, because that's what makes you stop at the comic shelf, right? Is you're like, oh, what's going on here? Here I just see like a beautiful pinup, and there's nothing wrong with that. I love a beautiful pinup just as much as anybody else does, but I want to hang that on my wall. Whereas I want to put Variant Dreamer like on its special display case next to the other Variant Dreamer pieces that I've collected, you know?
That is a great point you bring up. It's so curious because now this is, for me personally, this is all very hugely helpful, because now I can, when I'll take this back and I'll, for the next, few covers that I do, I'll kind of understand what's happening and do them better. You know what I'm saying? I'll kind of have this other way of bringing it. But I just want to actually look at a comment that I think was here, and I think it was, I just received my copies in the mail. Incredible colors. I want to have my Lover variant cover framed and displayed. Thank you and amazing work. And then I said, this is why I make comics. You know what I'm saying? Compared to Adam's
and then
critiques.
You misspelled lot right there.
He definitely did.
Adam's critiquing your grammar. He's critiquing your covers.
Exactly. There's no limits with this man with critique. No, it's not. He is a hard man to please. You know what I'm saying? But then that makes his makes his words mean that much more weight. Holds more weight.
And that's why he owns a comic company, and the rest of us don't.
That is right. But we all have big visions, and Adam has the biggest vision of them all. Do you want to say which company you're going to buy over within the next few years?
No, because what I want you to do is get that guy onto your show with me, and then I'm going to offer to write him a check right there. So I'll tell you when I'm ready to move forward on that.
Oh man! If it's one thing I can do, Adam, is I can get people on. I can smooth talk them and lure them in. You know what I'm saying? That's the one thing I can do.
Lure them in so that I can be like, you've misran this, and here's check. Just tell me the amount right now.
That's gonna be a good one. I'm gonna mark that on my calendar. I'm gonna write one. That's gonna be a very fun one. So we'll end this off just talking about variant covers a little bit, because I think that enough critique has happened. I think people have learned. Hopefully, they say that saying where a smart man learns from his mistakes, but a wise man learns from other people's mistakes. And my hope is that people learn from my mistakes, so they don't have to make it themselves. Adam, in your experience, do people learn from other people's mistakes though? Like, be honest. Or are they going to make their own mistakes anyway?
Depends on the person.
Depends on the person.
There are definitely people who can learn from other people's mistakes, and then there are other people who just run their head into the same wall again and again and again. And hopefully eventually they figure something out, right? But I've had friends in the comic industry that go both ways.
and we're all rooting that I'm in the former and not the latter. In the latter.
I think you have enough self-awareness that I have confidence that you
There we go. There we go.
manage to find your way.
So variant covers. Okay, so now the question becomes, do we really need them? And before we get to Anna's point, Kayla, how do you feel personally about variant covers from the books, not only that you make, but really that you like to read and see in the stores? What's your opinion on variant covers?
Well, look, I like them because I get paid to make them. So that's always a plus for me. It does contribute to my business. So I feel great about that. As a comic reader, I appreciate a really good alternate cover. And I understand the desire to have them if you are somebody who collects comics in an aesthetically minded way. So like, I am a aesthetic comic collector. I will buy a comic just because I like the cover of it. And I mean, I will totally confess, there are comics on my bookshelf right now that I have not read, but I liked the cover, so I bought them. My husband is a like content comic buyer. He collects comics because he likes the stories that are in it. He's loyal to the authors. He's loyal to the storylines. He doesn't give a shit if it has 3 or 4 variant covers. He just wants to know what happens next. And I think that, again, it depends on who you ask whether or not a variant cover matters. Because like, Redemption is probably one of my favorite comics that's out right now. And if they started putting out variant covers, I would buy the same issue twice just to have both covers because I love the artwork so much. But my husband would never do that. He'd be like, "That's stupid. Why are you doing that?"
Because you have the artist's point of view and perspective. That's super cool. Yeah, I agree. And me personally, I just choose whichever one looks good to me. It's not like I'm not a collector in that sense. Like. If I go in, generally speaking, and I've noticed this, like in person, somebody will come in with a variant cover to the counter, and the guy behind the counter will be like, you can get this same book for like half price if you just get the regular cover, right? And then the guy's like, oh, okay, I want that one. You know what I'm saying? And so it's one of those things where I generally will do that too, just like whatever is the cheapest one. If they're all the same price, then I'll choose whatever my favorite one is. Just based off, just first impressions. I don't really look too deep into them when I make these, gut decisions. But then as a comic creator, I do see, you have to, it's somewhat appeal to all these people. And again, mainly you're going to appeal to your biggest supporters or your biggest backers or the people who are supporting you the most. And that higher tier is always the collectors. And it's always going to be those people who want the variants. So at some level, from a comic creator standpoint, you do have to appease them as well. So there's definitely different things
I can't wait to hear
in my mind when I'm making variants. But Adam, and you've kind of changed my mind over these last few weeks, I would argue. But what do you have to say about variant covers?
So first of all, you ever heard the phrase, if you try to appeal to everyone, you will appeal to no one? You ever heard that phrase?
I've heard it 1 or 2 times before, Adam, but it always
worry about
like
creating.
Yeah, that's right. I don't like it, so I don't eat. It's one of those things though that
great content that people want. That's what you need to worry about as a comic creator. So you're trying to split your brain between being this new business owner and this comic creator, but you're trying to, let's see here what you're trying to do with variants. You're basically trying to leverage as many different sellable items out of one creation as possible, right?
Yep.
The problem with that for most comic creators is how many people are doing Kickstarters that can actually afford to keep continuously creating 3 to 5 to 7 to 9 to 20 variant covers for every single book they do. If they're best friends with an artist or if they're an artist, then hey, cool. Maybe they can do more. But as a distributor, I've heard people tell me again and again and again, they made this cover for Kickstarter and it sold this many copies. And guess what? they took a net loss of $200 or $300 on it.
Yeah.
So from a creative standpoint, if you want to be that business owner and that creator, you need to have the business wherewithal to actually know if this is something that's profitable for you or not, right? There's a lot of people out there creating them right now that they're not profitable.
Yes.
Number two, if you're looking to put these in comic shops, I've heard from several comic shop owners at this point that they won't carry Dynamite, Zenescope, all sort of titles that seem like they should be selling in higher numbers when you look at the numbers through like Diamond and stuff like that. They won't carry a lot of their books because they don't want to have to choose between 4 to 5 covers for every single issue released, right? And then on the other end of it, you're relatively new to visiting comic shops, right, Arman?
Me?
Yes,
oh,
you.
Of course.
Yeah. So when you first started going to comic shops, what did you think when you saw titles that you thought looked interesting and there were like 15 different covers? Did you think, hey, this is a different option for the same exact thing? Or did you think, hey, this is all these different issues. I like this one. I picked this up yesterday. I'm going to come back. I'm going to get these, da-da-da-da-da. And guess what? You just bought the same damn thing 15 times, and that's fine. If you intend to do that because you really like the art or, you know, you like the new piece that they've created, because you know what you're buying.
Yeah.
For anybody new, it's a barrier to entry into this industry, right?
Yeah.
It's an outdated thing that was started by the guy who couldn't manage to hold on to Marvel Comics. And we're still doing it for some reason. Why? Because we're a reactionary industry. Completely reactionary. It's like one thing happens once. Oh, Pokemon's cool. Everybody, great new Pokemon. Right?
Yep.
Oh, but you're not Nintendo. It's not Pokemon. Oh, it doesn't matter. Everyone, put a Pokemon on your comic. Right? You got Marvel, who's like selling old trading cards by Rob Liefeld and Jim Lee as variant covers, featuring characters on the covers that don't appear in the issue. How's that not bait and switch? Like Aliens Month or Conan Month, where the characters fight against these. Independent guys are starting to do that stuff too. Don't follow the company that has a downward trajectory in the thing you want to do. Marvel and DC have only seen their sales in single issues shrink over the past 2 decades. And yet everybody seems like they want to go on a bandwagon that follows them right over the cliff.
That is a great point. And conversely, the indie sales have been increasing slowly but surely. Isn't that right, Adam? It's on the opposite trajectory of the mainstream.
It depends on which indies you're talking about there.
What about crowdfunding indies? How about
what
that?
Exactly is construed as indie in this industry? Because I've heard people say Image is indie. Image is not indie. But anyway, crowdfunding, no. So, as far as crowdfunding goes, there's a lot of projects making a lot of money right now. But, you know, there's a peak that it hits for most people, right?
Right.
So, you know, I'm still hoping that you get that $10,000 campaign. I know you're hoping for it. I hope so, you know. And I myself have made quite a bit of money through crowdfunding. I'm not doing crowdfunding anymore. But I've also seen a lot of the downsides, not just from the perspective of comic fans and the people who are waiting on their stuff through crowdfunding, but from comic creators who've contacted me as a distributor. They tell me they don't know if they're allowed to create comics now. I ask, why is that? You know, they have this project that's running late or something of that nature that they're not sure how to get out from under, because guess what? They're a creator. They're not business minded, and they didn't do their math right. So, you know, where there's no real simple equation to figure out exactly what you need mathematically out of a Kickstarter, out of an Indiegogo, you see a lot of instances where these creators are making far less money than what they think they are, right? And because of that, sometimes they end up having to use their tax returns or whatever, you know, extra money that they can make, when there's a lot of comic creators, as you two know, who just don't make that much money at whatever their day jobs are. You know, because that's not where your passion is. That's not what you're actually trying to do. You're trying to follow this other dream, right? But Kickstarter's got that downside to it, right? Where if you don't do it 100% right, now you're on the hook for all this money, and you're on the hook for creating all this other ancillary stuff that maybe you wouldn't have created before. Maybe you wouldn't have tried 15 variant covers had it not been for Kickstarter.
Yep.
Maybe you wouldn't have tried, you know, doing metal posters and wood prints and, you know, all this different sort of stuff, right? And maybe you shouldn't have, because maybe your math wasn't right, right?
Right.
So for all the good sides, and there are plenty that I didn't bring up, there's also that downside where it can feel like it's career ending to have a campaign go south.
Yep. And that's a lot of reasons. And really, we were talking about like one and done. If you mess up so bad in one campaign, that's your name, and that follows you. You know what I'm saying? And people won't back the second one, no matter what, no matter how much time passes. And yeah, but you know that I think we're just trying to rein in on the entire variant cover topic here. I think we
okay. Did I get off topic?
No, I think it's good. I think I'm trying to.
No, it was great.
In.
Yeah.
I think I was
I
trying to
thought
dive
that was
back
fantastic.
in, but I think that there's so many perspectives to look at it from, and I'm not saying which one's right or wrong. I'm going to say Adam is probably more right, but in the way of a spectrum and where you're leaning, because I'm also experimenting. You know what I'm saying? And maybe the data will prove one works better or worse for maybe an IP or title or a certain creator. But I am definitely leaning towards, and Kayla knows this, for the next book that's coming next month, only one cover, main cover, but then you can have art prints, attached to that. So there's no variant cover, but new image by a different artist if you really want to bring them in, but then, not really a different variant cover. And we're going to see how it does. We're going to see if it does just as well. Well, then why would I have extra variants? You know what I'm saying? That's the real reason, because it definitely shoots your expenses up. And maybe it doesn't really add that much more, which is it's a curious experiment we're going to kind of see, and we'll keep checking back in on how the releases go for the next few months. But for Lost Magic in particular, I bring this up because there will only be one main cover going forward for Lost Magic as well, if of course this goes well in the next one. But and then maybe we experiment with different types of merch and additional ancillary items that are cool and unique that aren't variant covers. Other merch that can live on past the IP. It's always about expanding the industry and taking it to the next level. And what can be cooler than variant covers? There's so many things you can do that are cooler than variant covers at the end of the day. And I think that's what we're trying to hit home as the resounding last point there. It's been, I think this was a great first episode. I think we laid down the roadmap of what to kind of expect. And, we're going to get some kind of fun creators to kind of come on, and we'll start with our friends, and then maybe we bring on some semi-friends. You know what I'm saying? But it's one of those things.
Arman really wants us to be disliked.
Yes, he does.
Man, I want to work in this industry, right?
You want me to bring on publishers that I may represent.
That's right.
And, yeah. Okay. So if that happens, I get control of the mic. You muting people.
I think it's gonna be fun. I think we're gonna stick to once a month. We'll kind of see. We'll kind of play it by ear how many will be recorded, and release schedule. I think one a month is kind of a good thing to aspire to. We can see where it goes from there, more or less. But I think it's also, again, I think it's educational. I think it brings up a different side of we get a little bit more about the business side and the industry. We get to see different perspectives on a certain topic, and of course, helping out different creators, and being this kind of giving value back to the creators. And I think that's a good way to support the community. It's a different way to support the community I think people need. And I think we're going to get a lot of requests hopefully soon, to kind of people who want to be, made cried, on the show. So we're gonna kind of try to make
You
it happen.
haven't cried yet. That disappoints me.
It is true. It is true.
He was this close.
Yeah.
This close.
That's right. That's
When
right.
we started talking font types, I could see just a little.
Yeah. Is there anything you guys want to say about anything we talked about to end it, and maybe just say where people can find you? I'm right here. You can like and subscribe, but also I'll put our socials down. But I'm on Instagram at @RealArmanNasim. I just started Twitter, and then we're gonna keep expanding and growing from there. Where can people find you, Kayla?
You guys can find me at www.rainydaysart.com, and you can find me on Facebook and Instagram, also at Rainy RANEY Days Art.
And you have a big campaign dropping, don't you? Soon, relatively soon.
I do. On Monday, you can see me and my partner, Ro Lamb's second installation of Scarlet Ranger is dropping on Kickstarter, and we have some little surprise goodies in it that I think people are going to be really excited about.
What is Scarlet Ranger?
Ooh, you have to go and see. Go check it out.
wait for the release next week. Yeah. It took Kayla would tell me anything about it until she held it very close to the cards to her vest until I think maybe like a week or two.
I keep my author's secrets close.
Yeah. She does. You have some kind of legal training or some kind of legal research understanding, right? You're very good at that because you're very good at the NDAs, right? So all about
NDAs, copyright, all that good stuff.
Yeah. And Kayla, just before we move down, how do you feel about this episode? You know what I'm saying? Let us know your thoughts. Let us know.
Oh, this is great. I come from a community where critiques are sought out. I don't know that much about comic creator communities and whether they're open to constructive criticism or not. In the art community, we want critique. We want people to sort of rip us apart. I think that may say more about us as a people than it does anything else. But I hope that people see this as the tool that it's meant to be. They see this as an opportunity for people who are professional and, dare I say, experts in their particular part of the industry, to give them feedback that they really wouldn't be able to find elsewhere. I mean, look, I charge a consultation fee for projects. This is free service.
Right. That is right.
That I'm giving. I hope people take advantage of that.
I could not have said it better myself, Kayla, and that's why I had you say it. Adam, where can people find you, Adam?
Darkslinger.com, comicsmainstream.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram,
everywhere,
even under all those names. So just search out those names, you'll find me.
Amazing. Adam, I feel like you had the most fun today. I feel like you definitely had the most. How do you feel about today's show?
Pretty good. I'm thinking I'm going to start up an Instagram account that's the fake Arman Nasim, though. I'm curious why you need to be the real Arman Nasim, so I'm going to start that, just to let you know.
If everybody does a message from the fake Arman, it's not. It's him.
But the show went pretty well. I'm a little bit worried about you wanting to mute people's mics, and that you're trying to actually actively make people cry. I'm a little bit concerned about that. But
I told him the moment.
But I do feel like if they've met
a big
you,
milestone of the show, and in our lives, at the moment it happens, the first one, we're gonna celebrate. That's for sure.
Oh my god.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Thanks, guys, so much for coming and tuning in to the new segment, Making Comic Creators Cry. Let us know what you think down in the comments and who you want to see. If you have anybody you want to see, type them down in the comments and we'll get them on the show. You know what I'm saying?
We need volunteers.
He has no choice.
There we go.
Sorry, Ro.
Awesome. And